English dubs. You either hate them or you love them. There seems to be no in-between. But why is this? I personally believe this sentiment is a holdover from an earlier era that people have a hard time letting go of. You see, English dubs of the bygone millennium that have created this idea that English dubs are bad is a product of a different time. A time when the medium of anime simply wasn't taken as seriously as it is now. Back before the US voice acting industry sunk its teeth into Japanese animation, animated shows were synonymous with Disney or the Saturday morning cartoons like Thundercats, G.I. Joe, He-Man, and many others. Of course, if you've seen these pieces of media, you know that the voice acting in them was, well,
the time has come for you to feel the great power of the Mandarin. You will not escape, for I have vowed to destroy you.
Joe, guess he was too chicken to take me on.
Either that or he heard you're one bad luck lady.
Who says so?
Everybody, the word is when you're around, things go wrong.
Yeah, well, they usually turn out right in the end.
What in blue blazes are you doing?
I should have known the Territor didn't mean us any harm when the Sword of Omens didn't obey me.
Some consider it to be acting. If you were a voice actor in this time, you were voicing for kids' movies and shows. Of course, you took it less seriously because the content itself was cartoonish in nature. Unfortunately, when anime started coming to the US around the 80s, American voice actors didn't have much experience doing far more serious tones for animated shows. In fact, a lot of voice actors came from the stage, or live-action productions, and I can tell you, having done some live performances myself, it is a big difference. I do have some sympathies for the first voice actors to go into anime dubbing. They were treading uncharted territory. However, even as far back as early 80s anime English dubbing, there were still diamonds in the rough. Robotech and Gundam Wing, just to name a few.
Just who do you think you are? What were you trying to do? Get yourself killed?
Hey, calm down.
And while we're at it, where'd you learn to do that anyway?
It was just a simple booster climb. You taught me that yourself when I was just a kid.
Control a Wookiee. Dren, take us closer to Side 7. I may have to go down there myself.
This mobile suit, it's all computerized. A self-learning computer?
The 90s saw the English dubbing industry expand far more, and with it, voice acting being taken more seriously. Dragon Ball Z, Inuyasha, Neon Genesis, all of these dubs we consider the best of the best. And that's from the 90s, before anime was fully taken seriously in the West. Of course, by the early to mid-2000s, series like Naruto, Bleach, Fullmetal Alchemist, Death Note, Ghost in the Shell, and many, many more showed that not only could English dubs be done right, they could actually be on par with the original Japanese dub as well. But even today, in 2025, people still have this stigma about English dubs. Why is this? Well, it's simple. For the same reason you don't like bad CGI, you also don't like bad dubs, because they stand out more. Just like good CGI and good voice acting, you don't notice them, because it doesn't break your immersion. Think about your favorite American games: Halo, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, Grand Theft Auto. I bet you enjoy the voice acting in them. In fact, you probably don't even notice the voice acting because it's done so well, you're not being taken out of the moment. But in anime, people tend to go in with a different mindset. It's almost as if they're expecting it to be bad, because it's not the original product and past history of bad dubs.
Hey, Benton, don't crap your pants if you see a vampire out there.
Get lost. You wouldn't recognize a goddamn vampire if one jumped up and bit you on the end of your fucking dick.
Something is moving up rapidly from the bottom of the sea. It's heading for the ferry boat.
Ooh, look. Oh, stop it! We will got to defend the boat by all means!
And I can see that point of view. Like getting a bootleg Pokemon game, it's pretty much a one-to-one recreation, but yet it just isn't the original. One aspect of subs that I don't think many have taken into account: in Japan, Yes, that mystical island that you idolize does in fact have bad dubs themselves.
It's not true. That's impossible.
You just can't tell because you don't speak Japanese. Series like Glass Lip and Mars of Destruction were panned for their subpar voice acting. But would you, as an English-only speaker, notice this? Of course not. Neither would I. It's easy to idealize something in a language you don't understand, and be super critical of a language that you do understand. Now, those of us who grew up on English dubs of anime tend to also just prefer English dubs no matter what. I'm gonna be real with you. It's more immersion breaking to have to pause a scene just to read 2 sentences than it is to hear some iffy voice acting. Now, back before every anime series under the sun was subbed by actual media companies, in the 90s and even into the early 2000s, anime was being subbed by fans, known of course as fan subs. These came at an opportune time. As stated, early anime dubs were bad, so subbed seemed like the only enjoyable way to experience anime. This created an environment of elitism. Only true anime fans watch the original media, just with subtitles. You were a dirty pleb if you even looked at an English dub. Of course, this is a horribly outdated mindset that no longer applies to, I argue, 80 to 95% of English dubs. However, there is one legitimate argument against English dubs that I can completely get behind. The same 8 people are in every single dub, and it gets boring hearing totally not Vegeta's voice. You see, over here in America, we have the Voice Actors Guild. This pretty much is a union, which means if you're a part of it, you're essentially guaranteed a job. This is not a good precedent, as it means that you can phone your performance in, sometimes literally, and there isn't a damn thing the studio can do about it. Japan doesn't have this. Over there, voice actors are as replaceable as factory workers are over here. Ironically, voice actors aren't getting swapped out left and right in Japan, because the threat of losing their job over poor performance leads them to give it all they've got. In the original Japanese dub for My Hero Academia, the voice actor for Bakugo literally blew his vocal cords out so badly, he had to get surgery to fix it. The only time anything like this has really happened over here was when Sean Schemmel passed out from screaming for Super Saiyan 4, which just means that he was, in fact, giving it his all. This is why a series like Solo Leveling was so refreshing, because the main character is voiced by someone different for once, and not just someone from the cast of DBZ, Bleach, or any other popular in America shonen. However, outside of personal preferences against English voice acting in Japanese media, there is a technical side to a bad dub. One of the biggest reasons English dubs can sound so awful is because the translation from Japanese to English can come off as stiff or awkward due to cutting important dialogue or changing the whole meaning. Plus, it is often not a one-to-one translation, and if the people doing the switch from Japanese to English don't take into account how a line will sound when spoken in English, that can be a serious detriment. 4Kids was particularly egregious with this, censoring a lot of completely inane things for the sake of keeping it supposedly kid-friendly, despite the fact that most kids watched anime through Toonami, which was far more lenient on what they censored.
These donuts are great! Jelly-filled are my favorite! These donuts are great! Jelly-filled are my favorite!
Of course, 4Kids also focused on anime aimed at kids, so most likely the voice acting direction reflected the idea not to take it seriously. On the opposite side of censoring things, some dubbing companies today are now injecting Western references where they don't belong, using phrases, terms, and slang from the US and haphazardly injecting them into Eastern media. If you don't watch dubs due to that last part, I can completely understand. I watch anime to take a break from Western media, not get more of it. The reason why good dubs are considered as such is due to the fact that their translation teams understand that the dialogue needs some localization in order to make sense to Western audiences, but still maintain the meaning the original author intended. As well as this, making sure the lines sound good in English too. Full Metal Alchemist and Ghost in the Shell are some of my go-to examples when it comes to good dubs. The people working on the translations understood what sounded good in English, while still sticking to the original meaning of the Japanese.
This time, you used your own daughter and her dog to transmute a talking chimera! You can only do so much with animals after all. It's much easier when you start with a human, isn't that right?
Someone's life, you say? Haha, you'd know all about that, wouldn't you? Look at you, Full Metal Alchemist. Look at your leg, your arm, your brother. Those things are also the result of messing around with somebody's life, aren't they? Shut up!
What was that?
That's it. I want to be skinned with my own blade. Please, you must do it.
And you believe that will release you from your duties, let you off easy, you sick prick? Fine with me! Sorry, pal. I already fought my war and I'm through with it!
Naruto can be used as a mild example of cheesy dialogue not being reworked to sound less cheddary.
Go on, you don't need to be brave on my account. Go ahead and let your feelings out, Sakura. It's all right.
You never let him have a dream of his own, but he didn't care. I was happy. And you just toss him aside like he was nothing!
Your words cut deep. Deeper than any blade.
The future of anime dubbing is going to be interesting. The big dubbing companies like Funimation, Viz, and others may be getting pushed out of the ring. The free market of voice acting is only getting bigger on the internet. Anyone now can get their hands on professional-grade sound equipment and train themselves. Now, while this will result in a flood of subpar anime voice actors, it will also allow for those who can voice act, like the pros, to get their shot in. But with international communications being easier than ever, and data transfer being pretty simple, we could start seeing Japanese companies skip the middleman and work directly with English voice actors. But what do you think? Are dubs still inferior, or is voice acting changing for the better? Let us know in the comments. Feel free to leave a like, share out the video. As always, thanks for watching.